my purpose, my meaning in life is not to be better than anyone else. It's me versus me. It's me with me.
We've uncovered some of the most amazing understandings that people have been looking for their whole lives, since basically life began.
I'm really, really passionate about helping females, young females. They want to grow and they want to lead and they want to do something amazing in their lives, but at the same time, their emotions are holding them back.
I really want to go after the dads and dudes, or fathers and mates and bros. I really want to help them to find purpose and be happy.
They're going to learn everything important about communication, not just band-aid solutions, but the source of most problems and the solution to fix them. It seems to be that a lot of females have this issue, and I've seen many videos about this. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Phil.
And we have a very interesting connection. We are friends, I would say. Would you say you're my friend?
Yes.
Sometimes.
No, I'd say 99% of the time, except when you're that.
When I'm a bit too direct, that's a fair call. We're friends, we're workmates, colleagues. We are master, mentor, and student.
And sometimes the reverse.
Sometimes the other way
And the
around.
more that we learn together, the more that role reverses, and that I confide in you to give me some direction, to give me some choices in direction, more importantly, for me to reflect on.
And we're family. We're recent father and daughter-in-law. So this is a very funny and interesting and quite unique dynamic that we have. And we were friends and colleagues and master and student way before we were father
Before you
and
started
daughter-in-law.
canoodling with my son.
That's right.
Canoodling.
I didn't know they still use that word.
And then took it to the next stage.
Yeah.
Which I mean is marriage. So I didn't mean anything else. Yes. Don't want to know.
Anywho, that's us. And we're communication experts. We are self-development educators, but we really love focusing on the communication experts or the communication aspect of things.
I'd like to add something to that, if I may. You know how I've always been allergic to the word coach because, back in 2006 when I started coaching and then tried to understand what everyone used as methodology for coaching, I really found that people got stuck with what coaches knew and what coaches taught me to know to teach others. So I'm a bit like allergic to coaches, as in the name. But I've tried educator, consultant, educator, consultant, mentor, teacher, counsellor. Like I've tried all of those things, and I find all of them could be seen as good or bad, as helpful or not helpful. So I'm very shy to use the word coach on top of expert. I would certainly say that we're experts in this field because of the amount of time that we've spent working out how to help people. Because the reason that we're here 20 years after I started this is because I wanted to know what the self-help or the psychology or any of those affiliated names to that industry were stuck with in trying to help people. And now I'd like to say that we've tried to come up with names for, are we relationship experts? Are we communication experts? Are we self-development experts? Like, what are we? And in the end, it peeled back to that if we took the embodiment of it all, it always boils back to communication. And that's where you wanted us to go.
Oh, I just love it.
Why?
I love communication because it's the center of everything. So if we look at self-development, right, the whole big area of self-development, there are so many areas in that. I develop myself, I develop my relationships, I develop myself within my workspace, I develop myself within the relationship that I have with my kids, my partner. There are so many different things that I may want to develop myself in, but what is the key point to it all? It's communication. I have to communicate the right way with myself, the right what and the right how.
Yeah.
I have to communicate with my partner, my kids. I have to receive that communication, know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
So wherever I want to go and wherever I want to be better, I need better communication skills. That's what it boils down to, wherever I want to be better in. And that's something that I don't know whether when you first started teaching me, whether that really was a word that we used. I think it was always about thoughts, but what are thoughts in the end? Thoughts are parts of me that communicate to me. So that's,
and I communicate with them.
Correct. So that for me is where it comes down to. And what I like about it, not just from a why I enjoy that word perspective, but, whenever you say to someone, I'm a self-development educator,
yeah,
they go, oh, what does that mean? So they don't have that immediate emotional response to what you're telling them you do. So then you got to explain it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I hope that when we say I'm a communication expert, I help people to be better in the way that they communicate. I think everyone automatically has a good or a bad memory of communication that comes to mind. They might remember the last fight with their partner. They might remember the communication with their kids that didn't go the way that they wanted to. So it's a pain point for a lot of people that will evoke, hopefully, an emotional response and makes them go, oh, I'm interested in what they can help me with. Yeah, that's why I love it. What about you?
I think that when you were talking then, the communication went from internal and external. And I think that we're communication experts because we really tried to master, tried to understand to a very deep level the communication that we're having internally and that communication that we're presenting externally that others are also presenting, and then taking that in to decipher what people are trying to communicate to us. What's the meaning of our thoughts that we're thinking about? What's the meaning I'm trying to present? What's the meaning I'm trying to take from you, and what are you trying to give me? And because we really understand that from a thought perspective, ours and others, and that we're all trying to do something together, that makes us experts, because we really do understand that to a very, 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 very deep level, as we'll explain a little bit later.
Yeah, I agree. I was just thinking that the thought just popped in my mind. If we're lucky enough that anyone is watching or listening to this, let's give people an idea of what they can expect in this space.
You're going to get... so it's very hard for people to understand, what do they mean by 20 years?
Yeah.
What do they mean by 100,000 plus hours? Like, what does that really mean?
It's just
does
anyone? There's like what? Yeah.
What does that really equate to? So, putting that in perspective, there have been over a dozen people that have helped us a lot over a 20-year period since 2004. There are a lot of people who have devoted a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of self-analysis. And then a lot of deep thought with others to be able to understand what we understand today, to be able to call ourselves communication experts and coaches. And if I was to break it down, let's just say we've uncovered some of the most amazing understandings that people have been looking for their whole lives, since basically life began, that people can prove and take into their own lives to find better in life. Let me give you an example. One of the things that I really like to help people with is their purpose. So one of the most asked questions in the world is, what is our purpose? Our big purpose, not our purpose, what should I be doing for a job? Ever since I've been 15, I've been asked, what are you going to do for a living? What are you going to do for a living? Rather than what we know is innate in us, that our whole purpose and our wiring that gets us from being a baby to where we are adults now is wired to make us go after better. And
What's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of life?
To be better. Continually
Yeah.
be better. And to intentionally and continually be better.
Yeah.
Now, that's not me be better than you.
Correct.
That's me be better than what I was yesterday, 10 minutes ago, 2 seconds ago, and better today and better tomorrow than I will be today.
Isn't that one of the most peaceful thoughts to think about? We, I think, are all brought up in such a competitive world, and it's all about being better than other people, and we feel shame when others are better than us at something. We even feel, envy or jealousy about their skills, but that deep understanding that my purpose, my meaning in life is not to be better than anyone else. It's me versus me. It's me with me. It's such a peaceful thought, I find, because all those thoughts of, shame that I'm not better than others, all that pressure of I have to be as good as others, when you really deeply understand that purpose and you believe in it, I think it just trickles away bit by bit.
I have been very challenged with that over my life, how people get into that competitive spirit, but it's always about others rather than themselves. And because of that, I find that people push themselves to a great height. But if they could actually use the competitiveness with others as benchmark, not somebody to necessarily beat, but continually beat themselves without breaking, that they would achieve a lot more than just having that competitive spirit. Because if you really are going to find your mental and physical capability, which is a part of that continually being better and that ultimate purpose for yourself, the further you will get will not come just from that benchmark, but ultimately in the end, how far you can take yourself.
Yeah.
So the purpose of being better has been one of the big things that I've found over 20 years. However, the system that's hardwired inside of us pushing us for better, that's a huge thing. What's gone wrong with that is a huge thing. And most psychologists, self-help gurus, counselors, self-help dudes that, inspire us, those people
what is
that
it, Hustle Bros or something like that?
Yeah, what do they call them?
The Andrew Tates of the self-help industry.
That's right. And when you go to the influencers, for example, they don't know this.
No.
They don't understand what the purpose is, that we're hardwired for that purpose. They don't understand what goes wrong with it. They don't understand how we're supposed to fulfill those purposes. I'll give you an example. People go, what is my purpose in life? And they get stuck on the work. For us, it's like, how many areas are there in life that we can have purposes in? And what purposes should we set with them? What visions should we have within those areas? And how do we attain that vision? And then how far can we push that vision? And do I have to get it at 100%? Or can I have an 80%, please?
Yeah. I mean, let's give a quick example because I love what you just said. I just want to visualize it if that's cool. So my purpose is to carry children one day. My purpose is also to be a great mum. And there is pieces that make that up.
Yeah.
My purpose is also to be a wonderful wife to my husband. My purpose is to be a great family member.
Yeah.
That's just within relationships. Then my purpose is to, use this knowledge and continually learn more so that I can help people. My purpose is to continually be better at self-reflecting and get more understanding. My purpose also is to be physically fit and healthy so that with 80, I can hopefully still move nicely and be independent to some degree. So there are so many purposes, and everyone who's hopefully listening or watching can relate to that. There is not just that one thing that we've been asked since we're, in kindergarten. What do you want to do when you're grown up?
Yeah.
Well, there are many things I want to do. There are many things I want to be good at. And it's just about learning to divide the attention between those things and prioritizing them and making sure that all of those purposes that I said help to make me a better person.
Yeah, so inside purposes, you have expectations, standards and rules, which really people don't understand. Females are way better at it, and men kind of shy away from it, but they don't understand the importance of it. And then there's so many more things. Humble, you know, and being a humble person, how to act humbly. And if we don't, do we act grumbly? And there's so much to touch on. So not only is it important that we touch on that we've been working on this for 20 years, that we've devoted over 100,000 hours, inclusive of everyone, that we have uncovered so many important answers to questions people have been asking forever about life, and continually finding the nitty-gritty of it, you know, all the little pieces to find out how to answer it where people can relate to it. So a lot of the answers that we give, people go, oh, I get that. And then they go, but why don't I put that into my life? Oh, I've heard that before. That person said this or that person said that. Good. Did you do anything with it? No. But why? Why didn't they? So we now understand why people aren't following through with some amazing advice out there and how to help them with that so that they can take on not only the advice that we give them, but the advice others are really trying to share to help people to get better in life. You know, we're not bagging the self-help industry, the psychology, none of that. What we're saying is they're genuinely wanting to help people better. It's just our job was to find out what was missing in that. In actual fact, confirming some of their amazing thoughts, their amazing practices to help people, and finding out why the cut through is not as good as it could be. So in other words, a Band-Aid solution or a 3 to 7 day motivation rather than a lifelong group of lessons to be better with.
Yeah.
So that's what we've learned.
I like it. And that's what we're going to share bit by bit, wherever our thoughts sometimes take us.
Yeah, I went deep into thought. That's a lot to try and recap. Is there anything you would make simpler for people to go, all right, Phil lost me there. Like, what do you think that that 20 years has culminated in that others may be interested in?
So I think if you were to ask me, what are people going to learn in this space? It's, in simple terms, they're going to learn everything important about communication, not just Band-Aid solutions, but the source of most problems and the solution to fix them.
Yeah.
They are going to learn with us to self-reflect, to genuinely, continually become the better version of themselves.
Yeah.
They're going to get to know us, and they're going to see that we don't just speak from knowledge and sitting behind a computer or behind paperwork. You know, for me, 7 years, for you, 20 years, the knowledge that we have comes from genuine understanding because we've experienced so much when it comes to this knowledge. And I think people will, as you said, get answers to most of the questions that everyone has, but we as a world, unfortunately, just haven't really found the answers to them that genuinely make sense. And I think this is just a space where self-help is made simple. Where helping yourself to be the better version is simple, because most of the things, as you will see, we don't need 100 answers for 100 different problems. In many cases, there will be one answer for 51 of those problems because we've really gone to the source of things. That's what I would say. Well, does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to tell the viewer, because I believe there'll be plenty viewing.
Yeah.
Like what you said before, if anyone is viewing, you know, it'd be a good thing.
Say hi in the comments.
I'd just like to say something. It is intentional for me to make Lisa look better than I with the answers.
Did you think my answer was good, yeah?
Most of the time people will say, oh, geez, Lisa's so good at this. She gets the answer just direct and I get it.
Yeah, which is so unfair because I've got all the answers from you. I just pick the pieces out of it and make it shorter.
Yeah, so it's intentional.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that with us.
I wanted to say something.
Yeah.
It's kind of odd. We are, as you said, daughter,
Yeah.
in-law,
Yeah.
father-in-law.
Yeah.
Yep. And a very weird dynamic because what people don't understand is that is uncommon in the best of families.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to sit down and discuss these things and go so deep as we can, where no subject is taboo. Yep. You probably know more than me, and I know more than you than anybody else does. And I want everyone to understand, we sat down with a gentleman yesterday morning and we were talking about setting up the new dads and dudes group, right? And the subject became about, because men have a very big issue with women and them understanding sexual needs. And these men were there was a couple of men and they're being honest about this, and Lisa's sitting there going, and then Lisa throws in her 5 cents worth about what she understood, and they go, "You're coming to our group. You're coming to our group." Excuse me. And she went, "Yeah," and I'm going, awesome. So it was really nice that we have understandings of each other that are not taboo, that are not frowned upon badly, but are shared to get better faster. See, my job is to teach others to be better and faster than me, adding on to that competition thing. Not only are we not competing against each other, what our job is, and especially mine, is to make sure that the younger generation understand what I understand and continually improve on that better and faster than I did at half my age. I mean, at 57, if I can be helping 20 to 30-year-old dudes, or even chicks, if that's what we use as the ladies.
And dads.
Yeah, and dads at a young age, then that makes me feel so cool. Because what people don't understand about the purpose of better is to really be better with yourself. You have to learn how to help others be better themselves and then challenge what you think is better. So you can go, wow, I could have done that better and faster myself in explaining that for you to be better and faster yourself. So I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah.
And what you will learn with us over the coming years is really going to be insightful. And almost some people will say, oh, no, you shouldn't be discussing that. But if we don't discuss those things, how do we really get to the root source of our problems to be better? How do we get to the root source of what could be better to have a vision of what we can achieve? So we're not competing with you. What we're going to do is give you insights of worse and better, good and bad, right and wrong. Not to say that's how this works, but for you to have a comparison to be able to determine what is better for yourself.
Yeah, I like it. You started this by saying, this is really odd, like an odd relationship. I just want to point out, if I think anyone is odd, it would be your son, my husband, because he married the mini version of you. So I don't think our relationship is necessarily odd. I think he's the weird one out.
Yeah. Is that like a mental
Daddy
health?
issues?
Yeah. I don't know. I've got to have a look at that.
Yeah, we'll discuss that in another episode coming up. All right. So we've talked a little bit about what we do here, how this came about, what we're going to talk about. Let's give a little bit more of an introduction to us, maybe.
Yep.
Before we actually go into that, anything new happened? How are you? We haven't really had a catch up this morning because we actually kept that for the setting.
Look, this morning I found myself at 6 a.m. going, I really got to understand a question. What do men or dudes or mates or bros or just as a whole, the males, what do they really want to understand?
Which we should introduce then at this point, the people that you're really interested in helping. Do you want to touch on that before you look at that question?
Well, no, because I'm happy to go back to that.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say to you that it was really, really interesting because I'm second guessing. I'm one male in, 4 billion males. And I'm an older male, but what are the younger males looking for? And, I said, well, I want to check what their pain point is as opposed to mine. And it's really, really interesting because, to be honest, I wanted to share with you that it really does sound very female orientated, that the same pain points. In researching that, I just went, wow.
Like what?
Purpose.
So something that we already touched on slightly. What's my purpose in life?
Emotions.
And sorry, just with that purpose, do you think the purpose is referring to what's my passion, so my work purpose, or is it referring to what's the meaning? Why am I here?
The big version.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And this is the correlation. So it was like purpose. It was emotions. It was depression, anxiousness. I never realised, just with that little bit of research I did, just to check myself, that it's so common. It's just which of the females have more of this or less of this, So let me give you an example. Men must have a lot more challenges that they bottle up and that emotions, not knowing what to do or what's right to do, and thus the emotions bottled and building up, that 7 out of 10 suicides are male. However, going to other sites and looking at that, females try suicide more than men. They're just better at it.
What do you mean?
They take a more fatal approach to making sure that when they suicide, they do it so they don't survive.
The males do it, right. So females try it more often, but it could almost possibly be like a yell for help, a cry for help.
Yes.
They're not as meticulous in making sure that they're actually going to unalive themselves.
Yes.
Whereas males, if they go for it, then they do it right.
So one site was reporting about how many...
Interesting.
I know.
I never knew this.
One site was reporting this, the other site was reporting this. I just put them together and went, well, I would never have gathered that.
It kind of makes sense though, because females are so outwardly emotional. And I know many people may get backlash for saying this, but I do think that a lot of suicide attempts are just a cry for help. They're not to actually take your own life. As someone who was in that spot and who was genuinely contemplating how much better the world would be without me, I can, looking back, say, yes, it is a cry for help. That want to live is still stronger. And I'm not saying in all cases, but we are so much more used to using our emotions to communicate that wool is already so much down. What's a suicide attempt adding on to that? So it feels more acceptable to do that. Whereas for a male, fuck, if you fail, then you're the laugh of the town in your head. So you got to do it right. If you fail, everyone will see your weakness. Now you're exposed that you're not actually well, that your mind is not good and that you're struggling. So I kind of get that we females are more vulnerable to that. So if we fail, we don't see it as a bad thing. We see it as, well, now I've got everyone's attention and they can finally help me. They see that I'm serious and that I have struggles. But for a male, that's horrible to think that everyone would see how vulnerable you actually are.
So I didn't mean to get those statistics. It's just in that hour of research, they just popped up and I went, and so I wanted to share that.
Yeah, cool.
And there's a reason I wanted to share that. And there's something that's just come into my mind that I said to you a week ago. In Australia, we've had the second suicide from an under 13-year-old perspective. girls in Australia in the last few months. And the last one was a 10-year-old. And it just gutted me. What would a 10-year-old know about life to suicide? Where were they in their minds? Where were their parents? And there's no blame here. We do know that that 10-year-old took their life. They are accountable for that action. What led up to that? Bullying at school was what was reported. I have no idea, and I'm not here to judge that. Gutted me. It gutted me. And then I had messages saying, Phil, when are you going to start to release your information? It's time now. This is not good enough. Pushing me to add to my thought of I've got to start releasing this stuff so that I can make sure that people choose less to do those things because they're not necessary.
And saying that, I'm just thinking like a 10-year-old, they don't understand their thoughts just yet. Like, as much as, yes, accountability for your own actions, but at 10, you're not independent yet. Like, you can't really be 100% accountable for that. Yes, it was your actions, but it's different, a 10-year-old doing that to a 25-year-old. They don't understand their thoughts. You know what comes up in me when you talk about that? When you're a young person, so many people say to you, oh, you think you've got it hard, like try being an adult. And I think those examples really show that as adults, you forget how real the emotions that you're feeling are as a child and as a teenager. Man, if I had a penny for every time, I don't know why I said penny, like a cent in Australia, a cent for every time that an adult told me when I was a teenager, like, oh, you're being dramatic, like, you know, try being an adult. That's hard. That's where you have real problems. I'd be rich. But it really shows how disassociated most adults are from the pain and the challenge and the confusion that older children and teenagers are experiencing.
You touched on the emotions there and how real those emotions are. I just wanted to add the recognitions that drive those emotions are so real to everyone, especially those young people. And our job is to help people with those recognitions, those thoughts, and how they think about them.
Recognitions, for example, being, I might feel confused or sad, but why do I feel confused or sad? Because I've been brought up in a world that taught me about fairy tales and princesses being saved out of old castles. And all of a sudden I wake up to the reality that I'm bullied in school, that my parents are not there to actually help me, or that my parents are fighting all the time. But I was brought up in a different reality. So the thoughts that I've been taught, all of a sudden, the recognitions that I'm having, they shatter the thoughts that I've been taught for such a long time. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I like the example, if I may give another one.
Yeah, go
back.
for it, absolutely.
Hey, son, stop speaking to your mother like that. What do you mean? You do. Why am I not allowed to? And you are. Why are you allowed to call her names and I'm not? And that contradiction. So those recognitions that we have in life that push our emotions to a limit are very real. Those thoughts are very, very, very real. And not only are they real, the actions that come with them are very, very real and contagious. And then we turn around and say, it's not good for you, but it's okay for me. And that creates the world of confusion that makes those recognitions or those thoughts and the emotions that we attach to them very real.
Yeah, I think as an older child or a teenager, the breakdown that you have emotionally and mentally is a lot worse than the breakdowns that most adults experience, I think.
Well, as you know, I think that most 5 to 8-year-olds have their mental breakdown, and then anywhere between 13 and 16, 17, that's where the next breakdown is.
Yeah.
And the rest just add on top of that. But what about you? I just want to share that from the research perspective. I could tell you a lot more that popped into my head, but we'll move on from that. What about you?
How am I today? Is that the question?
Yeah, anything you want to share based on the last 24 hours?
Well, I do have a question which I want to, I'm not sure, is this the right spot? I told you before we started this that we're going to do a segment on this, in this space, in this podcast, in this show, whatever you want to call it. And I have a question that I brought for the segment of Ask Us Anything. And I want to ask a question that I want help with, that I want to understand and learn. Is this the right spot to ask that question?
No.
Cool.
Oh, yes.
So then is it?
After this break.
Okay, so I brought a question for our segment of Ask Us Anything. And the reason I'm thinking about that right now is because when I asked you, how are you? You went to, this is what I've been thinking about in the last 24 hours or since this morning. And this question is something that I've been thinking about that I think is very, very valuable to learn about and understand for me and hopefully for females as well as males listening or
Let's
watching.
do it.
Ask us anything. Yes, absolutely anything.
All right. So I saw a video the other day, let me start this way, that is a girl made like a, TikTok or Instagram video, which was my two sides of my boyfriend. One is the caring and loving one, and the other is the annoying, putting the finger up your nose and throwing things at you and running around like a little cat trying to play. And it's very interesting. I'm going to open my phone up and I'm going to read you a couple of the comments that are under this video.
Okay.
So, for example, a guy says, you have two things to do as a boyfriend. Number one, comfort her when she's angry. Number two, make her angry when she's comfy. A girl says, it's his job to annoy me and it's my job to complain about it. So it seems to be that a lot of females have this issue, and I've seen many videos about this, of why is my boyfriend so nice and so caring and so lovely, but on the other hand, why do they make it their literal job to annoy the out of us? It seems to be a thing. And I would really like to understand it, because when I ask my husband about it, he goes, it's really funny in one moment, but then when you get really actually annoyed about it, then I can realize that it's not really funny anymore. But what's the thrill about that? What's the thrill about annoying your partner? I would really love to understand that. And how do we deal with it?
So I have to say I don't know. Straight up. I've never been asked that question. It's never been relatable to me because I don't do it. However, have I watched it happen? Have I heard many females complain about it? Oh, yeah. And it happens with old men and their partners, down to young men with their partners. So I'm going to say that it is, I don't think that males, after reviewing, watching everybody do it, I haven't sat down and asked people, why do you do it? But in saying that, what I would surmise is that it's fun. It's just fun. They're not actually trying to get you riled up. It's a game. It's like being a child. It's like they've learned to pick on, right, for fun. But they don't mean anything serious by it. Now, in watching how people interact, when you're smitten with a bloke and he does that, you think it's funny. Girls can't help themselves. They go, that's funny. Oh, I love that. That's so cute. It's fun. I'll do it back to him a little bit. After a little bit of time, it wasn't really funny. It was just that she was smitten with him. So let him have that fun. But then it really was not fun in the first place, or it might have been something different and a bit of that interactivity, but it really wasn't fun. And I think males get very confused about what is fun or not fun. So, for example, my partner's mum and dad, he's always grabbing her hair, right? And it riles her up because she says, I tell you, don't do that. So he does it.
Yeah, see, and there is no joke in that for me. There is no fun. Even if she would have laughed about that 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, if she said 90 times, do not do that, then it doesn't matter whether she laughed 3 times possibly about it. So that's where I go, they know exactly what they're doing. They know they're annoying you.
Yes.
They're looking at comments, they know that the partner is not going to go, that's funny.
Yes, but they did when they first started. Because, you ready? I go on a date with you and fart. Yeah? Are we going on another date?
No.
There you go.
Well, unless it was an accident.
There you go. But even then, you've got to consider it, already farts in public. This ain't great. Right? So those things happen without us really realising it. And girls, if you look at your relationships, did you allow things to happen because they were funny or because they were a little bit... Good. If you allow that to happen, you are actually saying that's okay.
So how do you, looking at that now, you're saying the history is one thing, right?
Yep.
The history of you as a female might have accepted it at some point, and so the partner is looking for that reaction rather than the annoyed one.
Yeah.
But let's go to someone has said to their partner 50 times, not funny. Why are you doing that? The partner is openly saying, I'm doing it to annoy you because it's funny. What advice would you give females to deal with those particular moments?
So I'll add to what I believe men then do, just thinking off the top of my head. By me doing that, if I'm that male, what am I getting?
A reaction, attention.
Good.
Is it the same attention that girls do when they're sad?
Correct.
It's almost like we know that it's the weird thing of I almost like to fight, not anymore. But that feeling of I want to fight because then at least I'm like getting a reaction. I'm being kind of in a certain way intimate with that person because we're fighting. Like at least we're talking and I can let some energy out. So we get sad, we cry, we play that kind of, that way. Is that the same thing that boys do, just in their own way?
I believe so. I believe it's a way of getting attention. I believe it's a way of interacting to get the communication going. And I believe that, adding now to your question, what should we do about it? Hey, darling, if you want my attention, there's other things you could do, like buy me flowers. Yep, wash the dishes, mop the floor, because that'll get you a lot more attention. Because where that interaction of that attention may have been funny or to get a communication going, as we evolve in our relationships and we take on more accountabilities, we almost don't have time for those things anymore. But men really still want that attention, okay? The other thing they might be doing is that they stuff up. So they might turn around and go, well, I'll do that because that diverts me from the other thing that I stuffed up because I'm playing with your hair now rather than I just broke your priceless vase.
Yeah.
So a deviation tactic as well. You know what's really interesting though?
What's that?
I love AI, not because I think that it's amazing and it's right, because I can find holes all the way through it, especially with the stuff that we're talking about from a self-help or a communication perspective. But I'd love to know, what does AI think?
Yeah, let me quickly hotspot myself.
Yeah.
May I use yours?
Yeah, let me set that up. Whilst we're talking about this, I'm not saying that any of my thoughts are correct on this because I haven't really given it much attention. I've seen it. However, what I did do is that I went back to my 3.5-year-old son's tactics and how he tries to get attention. and some of those things are as funny as. But, geez, they step on a line. Do you know what I mean? But he still does them anyway.
Yeah, and I think one thing that, always comes to my mind is I think a lot of females, look, I can only speak for myself, still find a degree of those things funny, but it's the same as in our interactions. We joke, but there is a line of where I've had enough of joking now. I'd like to be serious. I'd like to be heard. Or whilst that joke is funny, if I say, please don't do it, now you're actually annoying me more because I feel disrespected. So I think a lot of those things are still funny, even when Sunny does something. But if all Sunny would do is joking or annoying or playing, that kind of crosses over a line.
Yeah.
So I think it's a balance of that for girlfriends to not get frustrated about some certain jokes. And we've talked about that a lot. Something I really needed to learn and still probably need to learn, to really be aware of when do I find something funny and when do I not find that funny, and communicate my needs if something changes with me. And for the male to learn to really listen to your partner and actually observe where they're at. It's a way of communicating.
Yeah. I look at your question about how do we work through that. If I was to say to males, all right, that annoying habit or habits that you have to rile up your partner, if you notice that they're not attentive to it in a positive way, don't do it. And that's not saying don't try it another time, but if you keep getting that reaction, don't do it. Because what happens is that you're creating tolerations in your partner towards you annoying them. And so you're going to get attention, all right, but you're going to get negative, and it's not going to help your relationship. It's not going to bring it together. It actually divides it little bit by little bit. But in saying that, from what would I say to a female perspective, oh my goodness, boys are not really trying to hurt you. They might be trying to bait you or get you rolled up. They're not trying to hurt you. Because if they were really trying to hurt you, you shouldn't be in the relationship.
Yeah, you wouldn't be with them if
Question
you
mark.
about them.
Da-na-na. Alarm's going. Da-na-na. And that sometimes consider that you might at one time go, well, that's cool. That's funny. He's just trying to be funny because it got me before, but it's not the right time now. It's not the right time to do that, darling. Yeah. Just be honest with it. And if you have had enough and it is annoying you, you're getting frustrated, irritated, bothered by it, then tell your partner, I'm sorry, but that is really hurting me. I really don't want you to do it. But just remember, as soon as you do that, they won't do it. And if they then do it and you say, oh, that's funny and it's okay, then you need to draw a line as to being able to communicate to your partner. There is times where it's okay and there's times where it's not. And don't think I hate you because I'm saying, please don't do that again.
Yeah, I like it. It really is a two-way thing.
Everything.
But the first thing is for any female, I think, struggling with it is looking at ourselves and going, am I contradicting myself in the way that I'm reacting to the things, in the way that sometimes I find it funny, sometimes I don't find it funny, and maybe just observing the situation in the first instance, if anyone is struggling with that, without even possibly raising it, but just understanding and becoming aware of the overall situation in those moments, and maybe even writing it down. Okay, today he said that, I actually laughed. Like, become aware of the times where you do laugh about it, where you genuinely do think it's funny, where it doesn't bother you. Why doesn't it bother you? And then maybe reflecting on, in the moment of where it happens and it does bother, what was different about what was said? Was anything different about what he said, or are you just in a different mood? Have you communicated that right now is not the right time? Or did you get frustrated instead?
Adding to that, for females, and we'll call this the R-rated, so if you don't want to hear us discussing these things, skip over until we get out of the R-rated. And I'm not calling X, we just call it R. All right.
Is it R-rated over 18?
Yes.
Oh, yep.
Yep. Or depending where you are, classed as an adult. If you are going through ovulation or menstruation, please remember how you will take things is totally different to when you're not going through those cycles. And it's very important for both ovulation and menstruation. All right? Because I know that I've said things to you at different stages and you take it differently. And I go, well, I didn't mean it that way. And the next minute, oh, I'm sorry. Yep. So there's already a lot of emotions there.
Yeah.
So that irritation and bother from a natural and necessary perspective is correct because you don't need any more. You're already feeling that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
But I'd like to say when men have not ejaculated or have full balls, they get very irritated and annoyed and bothered very, very quickly and then go into that shutdown.
Yeah.
So when something is done and whether it is the right or wrong time may be measured by that. So if females understood that from a female and a male perspective and males understood that from a female and male perspective, that might help determine when is more appropriate to be a bit funny or a little bit, borderline naughty as opposed to when should it be a little bit more serious and comforting.
Yeah, I like it. So just so you know, AI, ChatGPT, is telling us that playful bids for connection. So many boys annoy their partners as a form of affection, similar to how children tease or poke someone they like. It's their way of saying, I want your attention. It's low stakes and playful. Well, we can argue about the low stakes, but a way to interact without being overly vulnerable. So for them, they don't have to actually say what's on their mind to gain attention from someone else. Because they can just make jokes and still get the attention at the end of the day. So it's a non-verbal invitation to engage emotionally or physically. It says, think of it like a weird love language. Annoying you means thinking of you. Testing boundaries and reactions. Will she laugh? Will she get mad? Will she ignore me? Kind of a power play.
You touched on low stakes, and I like what you said. It is low stakes until it builds up in tolerations when it's taken badly and not for that reason.
Yeah.
To be annoying.
I think it's an incredibly high stakes game.
Me too.
I don't think it's a very clever way of asking for attention, whilst there is certainly on the female side where we ourselves need to have a look. Yeah. Are we the ones who make it okay? Most definitely. I don't think it is low stakes because if you often enough feel not heard from your partner and your partner is basically asking, please do not do that. Yeah. Even if it's just something little like grabbing the hair or, throwing a sock at you for fun. It's not about the sock. It's not about grabbing the hair. It's about I ask you not to do it and you do it anyway. You can't even not do something little like that. What is it like when it comes to big things? Yes. So it definitely creates a questioning in your partner's character over time.
I agree. And that also shows how we look at things differently to how self-help gurus, psychologists, and or what's been inputted into AI over from humans, from research done over a long period of time, where we find that a lot of the language that is used and the meanings that are presented or portrayed to us as artificial intelligence users, based on what we've researched and understand, is a little bit, well, that's not going to help you. So I would agree. And if you're hearing it from Lisa, and I can tell you from every female that I've seen who has that kind of interaction, gets really bothered and annoyed about it. It's not low stakes because those low stakes keep adding up to where it becomes very big stakes.
You know what's really funny to me thinking about that is that males a lot of times say, and I've heard this probably from every male I've ever been with, right? Oh, you're too serious. But males wouldn't know what it actually is like being teased like that, because I've never met a female who does it that way. You tell a female once or twice it's enough now, and usually they back off. They don't do it again because they're way too worried about that frustration, that ignorance that comes our way. So we're usually taking a very different approach to that.
Yeah.
So it's funny that they say we're too serious, but they wouldn't know. Actually, if you do that probably to a male, they get annoyed a lot more and a lot more quickly.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just wondering if the men are after the attention, what is it that they're after mostly? What is the attention they are seeking by having that play?
That's a great question.
We might have a look at that at a later time.
Do you have an answer?
I think that my first answer is that they're horny. Because what a great way of getting attention. And there's always a reason for it. I don't know if it's I want to go and have coffee. Or let's go to the library and learn together.
Yeah, probably not. Well, we'll think about that and come back to it, hey?
All right, let's get out of the R-rated version. And thank you for that. What was that segment called?
Ask us anything.
Ask us anything.
I'll do a funny little, by the time I'm saying this, you probably would have heard it already. I'll do a little jingle for it.
Yeah.
Or something.
All right. What's next?
What's next? Okay. Well, we haven't really talked about, okay, we've already gone into some deep questions, but we haven't really gone into who do you and I really want to help through the knowledge that we have. We said we're communication experts. We really can help people to self-develop. As you would have seen by now, we really go into some relationship issues, communication issues, how do we fix it? And we never ever just come from one side like you did just before. We look at, here is from the male's perspective, here is from the female's perspective. What does the female need to do in this case to be better with it? What does the male need to do? So we've touched on those things, but with that knowledge that we're sharing, what's kind of our target audience, the group that we're really excited about? Do you want to share first?
So I'm excited about helping everyone.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm told I'm not allowed to do that if I'm going to go and market myself. So after lots of deliberation, many months and years, I'm going to look after dads and dudes.
And you're also, let's say, you're also actually excited about that. Otherwise they're going to think I put some handcuffs on you.
So
I've taken them off for the podcast.
Am I excited about it? Yeah. Look, if you ask me what am I mostly excited about, it's helping everyone. But in the last week and setting up for this and really in discussions with people, I really understand that the people I really can help the most and those that I really relate to from an importance of a job or a purpose is dads and dudes or fathers and bros or mates or whatever you want to call them. But it's men. But it really is the dads in the first instance and those that want to partner females for future creation of family. And that's not, I don't want to help males that don't want a family or don't have female partners. My job is to help all of them. The family is the most important thing, and the reason being is that creation of that family and that family bond, no matter the family you're born into or the family you create, is the most important. And the more there is in that family, the greater the dynamics, the better, I believe, our better can be from a mental and a physical perspective. Me surrounding myself with you, for example, or my son or my older son or my younger son, and or my friends that are around your age and older, just excites the living daylights out of me. With that, the dads and those that aren't dads from a male perspective are the people that I know that I believe need the greatest attention. Because I think that men are taught to be this macho thing, which you don't need to be. And I've been there and done that. All the gold, dollar signs around and then went to the gym and, the cut-off shirts. And I've been there. And then the dads, that have to be disciplinary and strict and, you have to understand what I've learned, how come you can't consider that I've done life and why do you think you could do life better? I get that. But I understand now that those were wrong. There was a lot better ways of doing what we want to do as parents, which is help our children be better. And what we want to do as dudes or mates or just men, which is find an amazing partner and sustain our life and then create a family of our own.
It sounds like that it's the males who are really interested and see value in relationships. Whether it's the relationship to your kids, the relationship to your partner, to your wife or your husband, whichever way you go. Whether it's the relationship to yourself, even. So if you're seeing that as a high value in your life, relationships and communication and getting the better out of those, seems like they can really gain a lot from you. Is that right?
Let's have a look at over the 20 years. I mapped the human male mind. It's about a year and a half, maybe 2 years before I mapped the female mind. So in other words, what they thought about and how they thought. From a macro to a certain micro perspective. So 80%, forget the 20%, that didn't really matter in the end. So my concentration was always gone to more the female perspective. And that's why I understand and say about ovulation, menstruation. And when I talk about men and their ejaculation and those needs that are requiring fulfillment, I get that. And most females, when I work with them and have worked with them in the past, go, how do you know that? You know more about that than I do. And that's because I've researched those things. I've gone into understanding and know, I'd say, considerably more than those that have researched the same subjects.
And what we mean by that, just to give you an example, is Phil knows when my period is due just by looking at me and the way that I communicate. So that's the perspective that you understand the female body, for example.
And I can tell by just the how a little bit because it changes. Your lips purse, the frown comes down to, what do they call those things? Crow's feet.
Aren't these crow's feet?
Oh, that might be crow's feet.
I think these ones. I've got all of them, so it doesn't really matter.
So, after doing so much time with males, then females, and collectively equally in the end, there is lots of signs. Also understanding from a male perspective what females miss and what males miss of females has really helped. To your point about being able to really help males, because I'm so distant from males for such a long time, and then really trying to understand the female, things disappear out of my mind, but something just came back.
What's that?
Did you know, I'm sure I told you, when I first really started to understand from a male perspective what they wanted in life, the first thing they wanted to find a partner that they were happy with, right? And underpinning with that was sex or orgasm.
Of course.
And I asked them, and no female believes this, all right?
I can testify to it.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
100 out of 100 said that they wish that they could find a lifetime partner, just like 100 out of 100 females.
Isn't that so crazy? Like, as a female, I know when you told me this, and there was not an ounce of me that believed in that. Not a bit. Because it's the way they act externally towards us females.
And that's my point. No one will believe me. And 100 out of 100 really want to find a partner for a lifetime. But what goes wrong? And how come they don't? And why do we struggle so much? Again, that's a part of our research, what we've been doing for 20 years. And thus, just that popping in my head just then goes, I really now know how to help gentlemen who find a partner really want to do that. Because like females, males, when that bonding happens and that bonding gets cemented, really do give themselves away just like the female does to the male and really wants that to last a long time. I know it sounds odd, but it just gave me a little bit more motivation.
Oh, I like that a lot. That's really nice. And as a female, what I can say, and this is where it shows, your target market is the males, and I really do believe that you can make a huge difference in that market for males, but where it shows me as well how much it can help females, because I know what that understanding, not just you saying that, but really understanding that that is the truth, that every male is looking for a lifelong partner, how that changed the way that I viewed men, really understanding that. It gave back a different trust, and it took, I think, a little bit of fear away from that.
Yeah.
I like the word that you used, bonding. That was really nice just then. I've never heard you use that, but that was quite lovely. It is what you do in a relationship, isn't it? You're really bonding with that person in a different way.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that's dads, fathers, dudes, and trying to help them. Yours?
I will tell you in a second. May I ask a question? How do you think that what you can teach males is different to the self-help industry that is currently in place? Or let me ask you a different way. How do you think that the self-help industry, whether that's therapy, psychology, psychiatry, has failed some of those individuals that are already out there looking for help, some of the dudes and the dads that want to be better? Where do you think that industry has gone wrong?
I don't think that those industries have really knuckled down to what is the biggest problem all humans have. However, I can help people because every pain point, and what's the best way of explaining pain point?
A pain point is a struggle that we have. So for example, for your target group, it might be, a dad might have a pain point of, I don't feel confident in myself. How can I possibly be confident in leading a family? Like helping them get through life. That's kind of my job, to be the protector, but I don't even feel like I can protect myself. So it's a struggle, it's a question, it's something that hurts them and that they are looking for a solution for.
All right. What about dudes?
Dudes.
What's a pain point?
How do I not... how do my communications with my girlfriend or my wife don't continually end in fights? That might be one. For males who don't have a partner, one might be a pain point that how do I get the job that I know I deserve, but I don't know how to actually go for that?
Yep. Or what do I even do? I don't even know what to do. I've been told forever, I've got to find out what's my job, what's my career, and I have no idea. And people tell me, go with what you like, go with what you like. What are you good at? What are you good at? Do that.
So in simple terms, I think the pain point is a recurring question in the mind or a recurring statement. We know people are not always good at finding questions or the underlying questions, but the statement might be, I don't know what to do. Or the statement might be, I'm continually fighting and I hate it. So that statement has a question underlying though. How do I? Why do I? How can I stop?
A thought,
It
an
all
action,
comes back
or
to
a behaviour
Yeah.
that is on repetitive cycle
Correct.
is a pain point.
Yeah.
Yep. Whether that be mine or somebody else's I don't like.
Why did you ask that?
The reason I ask that is because the underlying reasons for all of those repetitive thoughts, actions, behaviours, habits, all are underpinned by some things that we've uncovered that psychology or the industry is unaware of. And how the negative or the worse or the bad happens in our life as opposed to how it could be a lot better. And we now know that AI has no clue of those underlying, the underlying thoughts, recognitions, emotions, how they came about that then fuel or create those challenges or the better that we could have in life.
Yeah, to put it into a visual, if I may, I've really enjoyed, I love watching things where you see people push themselves towards their potential. So I love watching, there is a show on Netflix at the moment, it's called Critical, and it talks about the major trauma centres in London, and it follows them how they, you know, fix people who've been in major accidents. So if I may put it in my words and help build a picture, we have found the fracture inside the body that is leading to all the other problems.
Like
we're repairing that. That's where we're, you know, putting a scaffold on, where we put a little, you know, the orthopedic who puts, or the orthopedic surgeon who puts a metal piece through that bone to actually strengthen it and shows this is where it actually started. Whereas a lot of the advice that you get in the self-help industry, not all advice, but a lot of advice, really covers, because the broken bone is there, the skin was also ruptured and we're going to put a Band-Aid over the top of that. But it's never going to fix the actual issue at heart.
So treating the problem with the Band-Aid rather than what is exactly the source of the problem.
Correct.
Or the symptoms.
Yeah.
Rather than the source.
Correct. And we know if you don't treat the source, it's only going to create more problems. And then you're going to look for different solutions for that problem and that problem and that problem and that problem that wouldn't even have occurred if you would have fixed the bone or the source of the problems in the first instance.
Are you confident enough that our research has uncovered the source?
Yes, I am.
Like 100% certain?
99. There is always better.
And what's
there is always something else that you can maybe find.
What's the 1% that we'd be looking for? Just in case we're wrong.
What do you mean, what's the 1% we're looking for?
It's all right. That's a silly question. I do apologise. Again, I'm here to make her look better. So I believe 99.9% that what we found is the source to the majority of the worst in our life and the majority of the better in our life. All right? But the 0.0001% is I am of that 0.0001%, 100% of that 0.0001% sure that if this is not, we will find it. Because if this is not, there's only something very small that we've missed, and together we will find it. But I do know this is the biggest opportunity to check now what we think is the source or the sources, the many little implications, the many little top on top that have created the worst and could help us with the better in life. And there may be some refinements to that.
And sorry if I may, just before we speak more in mystery, we will dive a little bit deeper still in this episode into what that is. And even if we don't dive into it, we do have a gift for everyone that actually explains exactly what it is. Because we're not here to cover it up or be mysterious about what we know and what we don't know. So we will show them exactly. And if we don't talk about it here, everyone can get a gift for free after this that will explain it exactly.
Thank you. I'm just, when I was talking about that, I wasn't meaning to be mysterious about it. I just never got to it. Number one. So I'm not trying to hold this back as a sales pitch, all right? If you want to get better in life and improve on the worst of your life and get more of the better, then you're in the right place. If you don't watch us. Really, I only care in this instance for those that want better. Not that want to pick on us or say that, well, we're wrong or that we're doing a bad job or any of those things. If you're here doing that, this is the wrong place for you. Though we're very open to weaknesses, very important to us, as you will learn in the future. But if you're really after better and you want it with all of your heart and it's your right time, this is the right place. But I don't have to sell you anything. What you want will determine what you go after and how fast you want to get better. Is that fair enough to say that?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And you're allowed to not like us. We don't really care, to be honest, in the first instance.
We don't.
You're allowed to watch us and you're allowed to pick on us. We're not saying that no one is allowed to have their own opinion about us.
Oh, of course.
It's just there is a purpose to this. The purpose is to hopefully slightly entertain people, but the majority of it is to help people, to give that advice that we wish we would have had a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And you're frankly wasting your own time if you're not here for that exact purpose. Feel free to listen to it for other reasons, but you're not making the best use of your own time.
And just touching on that, before I move on to the next point, we have learned that many people will pick on others or things for this and that and you know, all of the reasons they can come up with. And we've had that. So we've then gone, what would you like us to learn, improve and be better with that point? And we've learned that if nobody can tell us what is going to help us to be better, to help others and ourselves be better together, then there's not much point to the weakness. There's not much point to the complaint. It's just something to whinge and whine and bitch about. But if you ever see a weakness and you can help us to learn, improve and be better with that, to help ourselves and others better and faster, bring it on. Yep.
This is also a great little piece of, we want to do another segment and I'm going to let you do yours, or I'm going to do a piece of it now, which is advice you might actually use.
This is advice that you might actually use.
This is advice you might actually use. If someone presents something to you and picks on you, let's say just picks on you, shows you a weakness and says, hey, you should have done that better, ask, okay, how? How should I do that better?
Or what?
Take it. What should I do better? How should I do better? Give me the improvement. Number one, if the person doesn't know the improvement, forget about it. If it pops in your mind, look for it yourself. If you can't find the improvement, push it aside because it really does not matter in that instance. Number two, the person who presents it, if they are at a way lower level of what you know. So let's say you are the master at doing something at an Excel spreadsheet and the person who presents it has just started using Excel, then the likelihood that their weakness, the picking on that they're doing to you, that has meat to it is very little. Should you look for the improvement? Sure. But again, it's all about the improvement. If you can't find the improvement, don't spend any time or waste any time thinking about someone else presented a weakness to me and is picking on me.
I love it. That's really, really
Did that make sense what I said?
Yeah. Yep. I always love the opportunity for improvement depending on how it is presented. If somebody presents it positively as opposed to negatively, it has a big difference. Negatively usually is not for learning, improvement and better. So how somebody presents a weakness will determine in 80% of the cases how I will take that weakness. But one thing I never do, I never ignore that weakness. So much so that it almost irritates or bothers others that I listen to it, doesn't it, Lise?
Yeah.
Because I take the 1%ers rather than the 80%ers, but I'm genuinely interested in it. So how it's presented, the improvement that somebody can offer me. And the reason I like doing this is there's been many times that junior who worked on the spreadsheet, as opposed to me having been an expert in it, and their presentation, when done with a good approach, right, that how has taught me, I've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Which goes back to what you said earlier, that the purpose is, to teach younger generations to do it better than we did it and to do it faster. And there is a lot of advice to be learned from that because they'll come at it from a different angle. But as you said, it's about the how.
The second thing. Lisa says, we have a gift for you. Oh my goodness. Please don't take this the wrong way. Presenters like us or content creators like us, we went and done a course. How do we do this better? How can we have greater impact with people? Only to try and line us up that we should do it this way to get to a stage where we went, you know what? I don't like it. We don't like it. It's not us. Where this is us. This is how you're going to see us. I believe 70-80% of the time. I really feel good about doing this, Lisa. So when Lisa says a gift, please don't take it, oh, there you go, they're giving us a gift and then they're going to try and sell us something. Just so you guys know, if you want better, faster when you work in and you live in an economy and you're born in a world with an economy, you want things better and faster, then you have to pay for it. That's how the world works. However, if you want to learn at a slower pace, but still the better, everything that we understand, we're going to give away for free. That's our gift. That is what we're here to do. Otherwise, we wouldn't have spent 20 years, 7.5 years, going on 8 years, and all the other people's times, my family's times, our friends' families' times. We wouldn't have spent this to go and say, oh, well, let's go and be millionaires and rich. No, we genuinely did this to help others be better. So much so, the present that Lisa said she was going to give you is something no one else gives you. Now, you might say, oh, they all say that, and I get that. But let me tell you, nobody gives you the biggest problem there is in the world. The biggest problem you have in your life, your family's life. No one does that. Let's go and find it. Go and check, they're going to come and give me the biggest problem. They're going to come and hurt me to find out how I'm hurting myself. Or they're going to give me something that I'm going to have to be vulnerable to that may hurt me, that I have to be open to if I really want better in life.
You kind of opened the can there now. We haven't told them what it is yet, but now you've said that it might be something that hurts them. So do you want to tell them about it?
Yeah. It's really interesting because I've really played with this whilst we've been toying with this free book that we've given out. What hurts people is the world lives in what we've come to understand as cover-up. Males mostly negative cover-up. They go and hide and run in the corner. And females, they'll try and move everything onto something more positive if it's negative. So what I've learned over the last few days is that or the last few weeks, when you show somebody what they're doing, when they live in that world of negative cover-up and run away, or positive cover-up and don't want to see what they're doing, it hurts. And this hurts. And if you really want better from the worst case scenario or to the better case scenario, it hurts. It's going to hurt.
So to bring it together, and I think that's the missing piece, we were talking about originally there is a source of all problems. We haven't yet said that the problem is something that we will do or don't do, the way that we manage something.
Yeah.
So because it is something that we do, that problem, that source of all the other problems that we experience in life, that might be what could hurt, because we're showing you that in the free gifts. So in simple terms, the free gift that I just talked about as there is a source that the self-help industry doesn't really understand of all the problems or the pain points that we experience, is a free book that we just give away because we'd really like people to understand it. And it also shows who are the right people to learn with us and who aren't. It's kind of like a little check mechanism. If you read that and it's a little bit too much, then we might not be the right people to help you in the first instance. So that's why we'd really like to give it away and help people through that. So there is a book, and that will be in the show notes. It will be in the description of this video. You can find it on our website. And that's what we're talking about. If you're interested in why we experience the majority of problems in our lives, that is the reason for it.
We'll touch on that soon. Let's go back to something. Who are you going after to help?
I really want to, look, it's always the easiest to help the people that you understand, right?
Yeah.
I can't really help a guy who's, 70, maybe has a grown-up child or multiple grown-up children. I can help them, but I don't really understand them in depth because I haven't lived their experience.
Yeah.
So it's always easiest to help the people that you believe you understand. And I understand myself very well. So I'm really, really passionate about helping females, young females who, straight out of school, who maybe are still in school, but are in that young adulthood, through to are just settling and maybe are married, having their first few kids already, but are in that process of still in the beginning of their lives and trying to shape that life, and are dealing with the questions of what's important in life. What should I go after? What's more important, my dream or my relationships? Where in the world should I possibly go after all this? I think the group of people that I'm really interested in helping are really struggling with their emotions. They want to grow and they want to lead and they want to do something amazing in their lives, but at the same time, their emotions are holding them back because they feel like it's so tiring and so over emotional what they're experiencing, and they like to understand why that is, where that comes from, how to deal with emotions, and take that into their own relationship with themselves, like genuinely like the person that they are, and then take that into other relationships, whether that's their family or their partnerships.
Professional and personal women from the age of
18
through to
35.
Okay. You said that you're really in touch with yourself, and thus tying that to that 18 to 35. What do you mean in touch with yourself? Help people relate to your life, or what do you mean by you're in touch? What have you explored? What have you done?
What have I done?
How do you know who you really, really are?
So I think I know who many young females are because we all struggle with the same things. But how do I know who I am is because I struggled for a long time. I mean, you know this, but I had mental health challenges. I put myself into therapy when I was 15, 16. I would have a daily breakdown. So I would sit in the bathroom, I'd cry, I'd rip my hair out. I would break things, I would hurt other people, all because I was feeling so many emotions. I was feeling numb at the same time as I was feeling like I was exploding with emotions. So I've done all the, normal things that people do: read books, go to therapy, put yourself in the nut house, live there for 8 weeks, get diagnosed. But nothing was like that helped, that lasted forever. I think what therapy did very well is it allows you to be vulnerable. It helps you to see that you're not the only one who feels that way. It makes you feel like you actually belong because you don't feel like the crazy one, the odd one out, the nutcase. It shows you that there are a lot of people who struggle with the exact same things. So therapy does that very well. It did that for me very well. it gave me people who I could open up to, I felt like, who understood me, but they didn't understand how to fix me. So
they understood the problem.
Yeah,
I
not
get it.
even
I've heard
the
that
source
before.
of it. They
Yeah.
understood the symptoms.
Yeah.
They understood the symptoms. They understood that you get over emotional. They understood that once you go over a certain degree of emotions, you can't hold them back. Like you're just gonna go crazy. They understood that your nervous system is running on 100 miles an hour, but they didn't understand why. Looking back at that, I know that very, very clearly. So that's something that I was always very interested in. I wanted to know why. Why am I like this? Why do I go from I think I'm the coolest person in the world to hating myself, to not liking who I am, to feeling not confident, to feeling ashamed of myself? Why does that happen? And at that point, I wasn't really interested in why other people experience that. I wanted to understand myself.
Yeah.
And that's where I somehow was just lucky enough to meet you. And you taught me the actual source of the problem. You taught me where it came from, how to manage that. You showed me that there is actually a way to manage it, because I was taught in psychology that that's just a problem that I have to live with. I just have a borderline depression, and that's just something that I'll have to carry for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and I don't have to. It's just that no one understood where that came from.
Yeah.
And that's something that's very close to me, and that's how I learned to understand myself, through everything that you've taught me and through a lot of self-reflection. I think I started self-reflecting very early, and I was open to look at myself. I wanted to know where the problems came from, so I wanted to know how to fix it.
Yeah.
So you got to have that little bit of bite in you and that drive to really improve yourself, because it's not an easy job. But so that's how I understand myself.
I thank you. I really want to go after the dads and dudes, or fathers and mates and bros. I really want to help them be gentlemen. I really want to help them to find purpose and align themselves with that better in every area of life and be happy. And we have a measurement for happiness. So, everyone asks, what's the measurement of happiness? If you really want to know, look at a toddler in the short instance. What about you from the female perspective?
I think we females have so much potential, and us not understanding our emotions eats away at that potential. So I really want to help females to understand their emotions, to manage their emotions. In the end, for them to be confident, to believe in themselves, to be at ease with themselves and be peaceful with their thoughts, their minds, with who they are. I want females to look in the mirror and go like, yeah, you got this. But from a genuine perspective, and not from a cover-up, but actually liking the person that they're looking at. And I want them to see that potential that they have, because I think we've got so much of it. And we show it, but then we get lost in our emotions. So that's what I really want to help females to achieve. Confidence, happiness, strong relationships, and not being in relationships because you need someone, because you're lonely without them, but in relationships because they bring value into your life and because you bring value into their lives. That's what I want to do.
Thank you. The little segment that you brought in before, what was it called?
We called it Advice You Might Actually Use.
This is advice that you might actually use.
So I've got some advice that you might actually use, catering to both Lisa's market and dads and dudes, females between 18 and 35, and men of all ages. Women have the most amazing expectation, standards and rules set, most of them, over their life. but they question them. And they question them because, is it too tight? Is it too much? Am I being too strict, too OCD, too regimented, too hard? And I would say, in many cases, yes. But expectation, standards and rules is about having 80% of them set, especially because the females look after the family. And it's very, very important that you don't drop those. It's very, very important that you also make sure you don't try and get 100%. Because if you do that, then, you know, that spontaneity that you want, that out of the box, the out of the circle, you won't get it because people will be too scared to present it. But if you have that 80% strict expectations, standards and rules, with the allowance that things can change, it's amazing how life can be for both ladies and for gentlemen. Gentlemen, I know we struggle with expectations, standards and rules, but let me tell you, if women did not instill those in our lives, we wouldn't have evolved as we have over thousands of years, because they didn't come from males. They came from females. And females are the standard. They are the greatest standard of setting expectations, standards and rules with which we need to understand and work with. And if you do that, and then help your partner to get that to an 80% level and add a spontaneity. So agree with them, get with the program. Oh my goodness, life will change. Life will be a lot better for you. And you can then follow in line working together with your partner to both and across a family unit get better out of life together.
I agree.
Might be some advice you can use.
I like it a lot. Let's use the jargon of let's circle back to the devil's disease. Oh, that's what it's called. I haven't actually.
Did my head just do a full circle like the devil's disease? Like, let's circle back?
Yeah.
The devil's disease.
So the free gift, the gift that we actually want to share with people. As you said, that's not a sales pitch. We're just genuinely wanting to share it. And the reason we touched on it before is because it's a piece of understanding that is incredibly important to actually help those people that we want to help. If you do not understand the source of the problem, what are you actually solving? What are you improving? By understanding the source of the problem, you now know what you're applying a solution to. Is that right? You had a thought before. What were you thinking? I could see it in your face.
Oh, I really get scared of that gift idea and thinking it's a trap, and you know what I mean? Because it's a common thread now in marketing. And all I go is, well, if I was going to give you a gift to try and entice you to something else, I wouldn't give you something horrible. I wouldn't give you the worst thing. I'd give you something nice. Let's talk about fairy tales. Let's talk about fairies and leprechauns. You know, they're going to give you the gold and, you know, whisk you away into a beautiful thing, or unicorns. I wouldn't give you, I'd give you that if I wanted to give you something that was going to entice you. In actual fact, it's kind of scary. And I'm thankful for the team saying to do that. Even despite every marketing person saying, are you nuts? And I'm thankful because if I died tonight, and this is my thought, if I died tonight, I did the right thing. I didn't go, here's the solution, and then let's have a look at the problem later. Here's what you can have. It's going to be amazing. Oh my goodness, life is just going to be the best thing you've ever, like, your wishes will come true. I gave you the problem. I gave you what no one else really goes hard at doing. Giving you the problem, the biggest problem, the problem that you have to face. That's what was going through my mind. And I'm thinking, I don't think many people will ever get it. But I feel awesome because I gave away the subject and the points, and the problem for people to get better with so that they can do that without me.
It's the starting point for all better. this piece. I've now given the name, we call it the devil's disease, just because no other name kind of seemed fitting enough, because it's something very evil in all of our lives. To the point that you said, I don't really care if anyone thinks that it's, you know, just a pitch, and goodness me, they have a gift for me. Don't download it. Don't really care. Don't download it. That's how easy it is.
You sound like me.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to that. I don't really care after you finished your piece.
Yeah. All right. So we call it the devil's disease.
Why?
Not because we have no idea if the devil exists or not. We don't really care, to be honest. It doesn't affect my life if there is a real devil in this world or not. But the problem, the source that we've now talked through this episode a little bit about, is so evil. The source of all problems, because it's so self-inflicted and it is so simple when you understand it that your eyes will almost fall out of your head. And we've turned something really, really wonderful that we were born with into something very horrible. All of us, you have, I have, everyone in the team has. We don't know anyone who hasn't. But this free gift, this little ebook, scratches the surface of that problem. And I think a fun idea might be, we've spent a lot of time writing on that book and we've written some nice pieces, and there is a little description piece on this ebook, again, which is free to download. So I'm just going to read that, and then we can talk about that if we'd like to.
May I touch on two things?
Absolutely,
just before you do?
please.
Number one, the devil's disease. The devil for us is just a metaphor that we use as an example to say that if something external of us, whether that be a devil or a fallen angel, or any person or persons, was ever going to create the challenges that most of us needlessly face in this world, that it would be classed as devil-ish. It would be, they'd have to be the devil. They'd have to be the worst of the worst. It is not because of religion. It is not because we are religious. It is not because we think that there is a God or gods or spirits, or because we don't know. We've never been in touch with any of them ourselves. But what we do know is that nothing is more evil or creates more destruction or devastation in our lives than this. And that this is the source, we believe, of the greater percentage of our mental health disorders and diseases, and stops us from reaching our physical and mental potential because we get stuck in this disease. See, the devil may be just a metaphor. The disease is 100% real. It affects every single person. It is passed on from generation to generation. It is contagious. If Lisa was enacting that disease right now, I'm going to find myself in it as well. And it encapsulates every single human being in this world. And so if any person or thing had created it, it would be the devil. That's what we'd call them. What you did touch on was that most of us are carrying it out ourselves. And that means we're acting like the devil. We're acting like the worst of ourselves. The good thing is, we wouldn't be giving you this if we did not know that there was an improvement, if there wasn't a solution, if we weren't saying that there was something to corrupt. So there's also on the other side something absolutely amazing. And we could have given something amazing away for free, and then the devilish, that you'll have to pay for the problem. But the problem is the precursor to the better. Weaknesses are only the greatest opportunity and starting point for all learning, improvement, and better for every single human being, but specifically for those that care about themselves, their relationships, and what they can do less of the worst and better of the more in life. Which then leads me to the question I was going to ask you before you read the back. What do you mean you don't care?
It's not my life.
What do you mean?
I can only...
Because you sound like me when people used to say, that's not very nice to say.
It's not my life. I cannot make anyone think anything about us. If someone thinks that we're putting a gift out there to us only marketing, you know, and there is nothing that comes from that and they're only trying to sell us. Well, first of all, let's be honest. Of course, there is a little piece of there needs to be something in return in everything, right? We're not making this podcast just out of the goodness of our hearts. Big part of it, but we also live in an economy. So there is, of course, a part of eventually it'd be really nice to be paid for our services, but that is completely aside. What I mean by I don't care if anyone downloads the book or not is that it's not my decision for them to get better out of life.
Yep.
Anyone who wants to get better, the opportunity is there. Anyone who wants to understand the problem, the opportunity to understand the problem is there. I know my 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old self would have jumped on this because it would have answered the question of why am I the way I am? Why do I struggle the way that I struggle? And where do my problems start? So this book would have answered a lot of those questions, or it would have given me the foundation to understand everything of this in depth after that. And anyone who's not interested, that is okay. Like, who am I to say that they need to read this and that they need to understand this problem? If their life is good in their eyes, the way that is wonderful. Then I'm so happy for them. So I'm not here to tell anyone that they have a problem when they don't believe that they have a problem.
We're very sharing, caring and helping people. And the challenge that exists is with 8 billion people in this world, we don't have many opportunities to be able to help every single person. And not every person is at the right time to want to be helped, or who genuinely want to help themselves at all costs today. And so if people are not caring about themselves, whether that's because they have a lack of understanding at any time, then it's very hard for us to care more than they care. That's where I stand with I don't care. But generally and genuinely from a whole perspective, the reason we're doing this is because we care more than most. And we really want to help. Share, care and help ourselves and our relationships is so key to getting better and more of better and less of worse in our life. However, we can only help those that are there to help themselves, and thus the care factor is going to be diminished when others don't care about themselves enough to be able to get more help and better help with people like us. So, thank you. I just wanted to cover those two things.
So the free gift is, we've touched on it now, it's an ebook called The Devil's Disease, free for anyone to download, and to give everyone over and above what we've just talked about an idea of what this is about, this is the description that it reads. The name is just a metaphor. The disease is as real as the common cold, and the solution is you. You were born with a natural system inside you. Elegant, intelligent, self-guided. It helped you grow, learn, and get better every minute of every day. But then something slowly and visibly turned you against the system until you unintentionally started to mismanage, misuse, and even abuse it. This something is what we call the devil's disease. It's what's behind your struggles. Almost every relationship problem, mental health issue, or self-sabotaging pattern can be traced back to this one invisible disease. What if one unique and sometimes uncomfortable book can prove that this disease is your greatest weakness and your greatest opportunity? This is that book. Welcome to The Devil's Disease.
Awesome. So we've discussed who this book is for and who this book is not. But you know what? We can also elaborate on that a little bit more by discussing what this book is about.
So in very simple terms, 2 things. There is a problem, which is the source of the most of our relationship problems, mental health problems, our struggles mentally, even though they're not mental health challenges, but our doubts and our thoughts. And that problem is that we all, as adults, teenagers, older children, adults, use frustration towards weaknesses, even though we have a language to communicate. Which, yes, everyone is right. Frustration is a natural emotion, but there are multiple levels to it. And we as adults don't use it like a baby to ask for help. We have weaponized our frustration. So it is very different to what a baby is doing. But in simple terms, we are using a baby's way of communicating, even though we have language and we have problem-solving skills. And there is a way to unlearn that. Second part of the problem is that because as older children, teens and adults, we all use frustration towards weaknesses, just things that we don't know, things we think we know but actually get wrong, mistakes, accidents, problems. We all make ourselves and each other fearful of weaknesses. But weaknesses are the starting point for all learning, improvement, and better. So that's where we learn from. Because we're fearful of weaknesses due to our frustration towards them, we are fearful of them, we don't want to see them, and so we all stop learning at some point. What happens when you don't learn? Well, you never stagnate, really. Either it gets better or it gets worse. And the moment you stop learning, everything gets worse and you create more problems, things that you don't even know come from this. That's in very simple terms what I would say, or how I would summarize that.
Oh, I love it.
And that's what this little booklet is about.
I just wanted to touch on something you said, because I thought your summary was really good. It's not only that we use frustration weaponized against weaknesses, we use frustration and weaponize it against others.
Against ourselves, against others, against things.
So I just wanted to touch on that, because I wanted men to understand, as soon as you get angry, you are weaponizing frustration to a max level. And if you do that with your partners or girlfriends or friends or family, then you need to address it if you really want to find a partner for a lifetime. And if you really want to create a family of your own and raise your kids to have better opportunities than your parents were able to do to you or for you, which I know is a very big want for dads and a very big want for having a relationship as a dude, bro. All right? So you have to manage that frustration. You have to get it under wraps, and the extension of it to anger and even worse. Because if you think that that is strong, it is weak. If you use frustration and anger. And how do I know? Because I was a part of it. And I do everything I possibly can to manage my frustration. It is the most important thing, because it scares everybody. Maybe not your mate friends, but deep down it does, but it certainly scares the ladies. And dads, if you're using frustration to discipline or teach people, lose it, because it ain't helping you. It's going against everything you want for your children. So it goes against everything you want with your partner, your future partner, and your children. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that. I was just thinking what I'd give females in this spot. I think females, if they want to understand where their emotions come from, where the over emotions come from, where does the feeling of numbness and at the same time everything is too much comes from, where does the self-doubt comes from? This is the starting point of it all. It is a natural emotion for a beautiful purpose of communication when we were born, that we unintentionally, unconsciously used and weaponized it towards ourselves and towards other people, and the fear that created. So this is where it starts. If you really want to deeply understand yourself, this is the advice I would give today. Actually read this book.
Boys, stop externalizing your frustration, making it worse. Girls, stop internalizing that frustration and making it worse, please. All right? With that, I just wanted to touch on this is where this becomes a part of who should and who should not download. If you're not going to look at where you've gone wrong with frustration and acting like a baby and or weaponizing it, and what we've done to weaknesses, made them bad and wrong to have, made them that they're there to hurt us and to be fearful of them, don't download this book. If you really want to understand how to get less of worse and more of better with yourself, with a partner, your relationships, your kids, your family, your work colleagues, and anyone out in life, get in, download it, please. Because I really, truly believe and have proof that it will help you. Stick with it. Treat it like a workbook. Treat it like the best self-help workbook you've ever had in your life. I already have people who have printed it out. They have it on their coffee table. They've read it half a dozen times, and they promise that to themselves, not to me, because I can't do anything about it, that is sitting on their table. And every time they get frustrated, they go to it. Every time they get frustrated, they go to, oh my goodness, put a baby outfit on. And, ready? A machine gun. Because that's what they're doing with it. And then they can see that they are scaring others and them scaring themselves.
I like it. Yeah, that's for me it about the devil's disease. I feel like we've naturally reached the end of today's episode. Is there anything that
Are you tired?
have on
I
your
could
mind?
keep going. I love this stuff.
Well, keep going.
I
Tell
love
us
it.
what's on your mind.
No, I don't have any more. I really don't. I'm very happy though. Thank you. I hope I wasn't boring or, staged or. I hope that there was a little bit of curiosity there, even a little bit of relief. Like I want to know more. I mean, I want to dig deeper.
That's the goal here.
Yeah.
I really do hope that people have listened to it, and everyone might have gotten a different piece from this. We talked about so many things today. We talked about the self-help industry. We talked about psychology. We talked about purpose. We talked about relationships. We talked about being a father. We talked about suicide rates. We talked about emotions. So there are so many pieces that we actually touched on in this. So hopefully there was something for everyone that made them curious. And they could tell that we're curious about it.
Yeah. I'm
Sorry,
curious,
it's
excited, happy to do it again. No, that was me interrupting you. I apologise. If you could give the viewers one takeaway based on what you've presented today and what you've even learned or what you've even gone, you know what, I really want to focus on that. Is there anything that stands out? And I'm not raising this because I have one, because I haven't even thought about this. I just went, is there something I would give, something I would say, something that may help somebody?
I think for me personally, I think we've given them the greatest thing for today, which is if you really want to understand where a lot of your struggles come from, and you're here for a reason. This is not an entertainment podcast. In that case, you might listen to Hamish and Andy or something like that. If you just want to be entertained, this is a podcast or a show or a space, whatever you do, if you watch it, if you hear it, where you learn and where you reflect. And if you're here, you're not here because your life is perfect. No one's life is perfect. You're here because you are looking for ways to improve your life. If you're looking for ways to improve your life, that means there are things that aren't as good as they could be, which means there are problems or weaknesses. So if you want to know where they come from, if you want to know how to deal with that, I would go to the point of download The Devil's Disease. That for me is the advice of the day.
You just sparked mine.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to go the other side of what you just went. If you want a perfect life, full of weaknesses and some natural and necessary frustration, and you want to learn how to better manage that and how to avoid the worst and get more of the better, then you're in the perfect place. And please join us again. please look out for what we have to offer. And please keep coming back, because this is our first presentation from this format perspective. And there's going to be plenty more. And what we will present based on our 20 years of learning and our deep dives into the rabbit warrens, which go very, very, very deep. There is going to be so much that we can help you with, and in turn, you can help us to be better with that.
And super duper important is we want to do a segment called Ask Us Anything. I already started it today. I asked a question. You're welcome, females. You're welcome, males. If you want to know anything at all, if there is anything on the listeners, the viewers' minds, whether it be about any of the topics that we talked about today or something completely left field that you think we may have some insight, some knowledge to help with that, please actually reach out to us, because that's where the fun really begins for us, where we get some questions thrown at us and get some inspiration of what people want to know and what we can help with. So please do not hesitate and write those questions to us, whether that's on our Instagram, our YouTube, through our email address, through the comments. Don't really care, just find a way to reach us. You will find all that information in the show notes or in the description. With that, please be so kind, like and subscribe, and come back here whenever the next episode, podcast, whatever this is, will come out. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, for me, if there's anything glaring as a weakness that you see from us, maybe my hair's not quite right, or, my shirt's not sitting, I'm only joking. But any weaknesses in what we present, or how we could present better, with something for us to learn, improve and be better with. We only see weaknesses as the greatest opportunity and the starting point for learning, improvement and being better. And we continually want to be better. It's our job. It's our natural purpose in life. And we can't do it without you. So thank you. Thank you for being with us today. We really appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. We look forward to seeing you next round.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Keep getting better.